A powerful nation holds an election for a new leader, and global tensions result in a massive war that will forever change the server. This is Rise and Rule.
They hate the truth, quite frankly, but I love the
He
truth.
speaks no truth.
I'm gonna bring the truth back to the nation. A lot of truth.
Oh, no,
No, he
he's
won't.
not speaking.
A lot
Okay.
of truth.
Yep, that's me. And you're probably wondering how I got here. Well, let's first go back to the beginning of Snowoma. Long before it became a unified nation, the land it now occupies was home to a number of small independent tribes. These tribes roamed freely, living off the land and forming deep spiritual and cultural connections to the natural world around them. There was no centralized government and no singular ruler, just a collection of people guided by tradition. For generations, this way of life continued untouched. This is until the arrival of settlers on the continent. These newcomers were unlike anything the tribes had seen before. They chose to settle in the snowy northern mountains, an area that had long been regarded as too harsh to live in. I can't feel my toes. At first, the two groups kept their distance, cautious and unsure of one another. Oh yeah, and all the tribes eventually united because of one man named Mander, and he helped defend the people from a group of attackers referred to as Naluds, meaning inhumane people. But he eventually died, leaving the throne empty. But that's a story for a different time. One of the more influential tribe leaders saw an opportunity. Rather than resist the settlers, this leader proposed something bold: unity. A meeting was arranged between the tribal representatives and the settlers. Hey guys, we've kind of noticed that you've been living up in those mountains, which are quite cold, and I'm sure you hate the cold, so what do you say you come down here and unite with us? No, actually, we kind of like the cold. So you choose death. Oh, what? What I meant to say is we have cookies. Well, sign me up. In that meeting, they agreed to come together as one. A new leader was chosen to represent this unified people, someone who would carry the values of both the tribes and the settlers. And with that, the foundation was laid. The new nation would be called Snowoma, a name symbolizing the snowy mountains that the settlers called home. After the formation of Snowoma, the newly selected leader got straight to work. First order of business: form a constitution. Because if you're gonna make a new country, you need to put a bunch of important sounding words on paper that basically say, hey, no being a jerk, please vote for stuff, and let's not fall apart. Alongside the constitution came the formation of a democratic election system. This would ensure that the future leaders would be chosen by the people, giving every citizen a voice in the nation's direction. It was a bold move, and one that set Snowoma apart as the first democratic nation on the server. In a world where many still followed hierarchies and singular rulers, Snowoma embraced a new path, one defined by representation, equality, and freedom. There was overwhelming support for this new ideology, and a collective sense of pride began to grow. As the political structure solidified, the capital city began to flourish. With newfound purpose and vision, development surged. New buildings rose, infrastructure expanded, the capital became the heart of the nation. Snowoma was no longer just an idea, it was becoming a thriving and democratic force with a bright future. However, the early peace that followed Snowoma's formation would not last forever. Growing tensions between the neighboring nations of Falkland and Etheria would soon pose the first major challenge for this young democracy. Falkland, driven by a hunger for territorial expansion, had begun pushing its borders outward. They established a small colony to the southwest of Snowoma, alarmingly close. They are so close! Dude, they're like 2,000 blocks away. They're 2,000 blocks away! To the people and leadership of Snowoma, this move felt less like innocent growth and more like a warning. There was growing fear that Falkland's ambitions wouldn't stop there. If left unchecked, they might continue pressing forward, inching closer until Snowoma itself became the target of conquest. Meanwhile, what began as disputes over islands in the Falkland Strait quickly spiraled. The situation reached a breaking point where Falkland formally declared war on Etheria. It was the first major conflict on the server, and a potential turning point for the region. Snowoma's leadership faced a difficult choice: remain neutral and hope Falkland's appetite for expansion would fade, or take action to ensure a balance of power remained. Ultimately, the decision was made. While Snowoma did not officially enter the war, it did send volunteers to support Etheria's resistance. This decision was not taken lightly. It marked Snowcoma's first involvement in foreign conflict, and the first true test of its values. By the end of the war, Falkland had won. Despite fierce resistance from Etheria and the bravery of foreign volunteers, Falkland's military proved too powerful to stop. As part of their victory, they claimed control over the strategic islands in the strait. Falkland was now a dominant force, and challenging them directly in open war would be a dangerous gamble. But Snowoma had no time to dwell on the war, because history was about to be made. After years of laying the groundwork and establishing the electoral process, the people of Snowoma were finally preparing to choose their next leader. It was a historic moment, not just for the nation, but for the entire server. The people of Snowoma cast their votes, and when the results came in, a new president was chosen. Although the new administration shared many values of the nation's founding leadership, it became immediately clear that their approach would be different. The first leader had prioritized territorial expansion and rapid internal development, but the new president turned their focus on foreign relations and diplomacy. The first leader helped build this nation from the ground up, and now I will be the one to push this nation into a new era and start a war. I'm sorry, what was that last part? Don't worry about that right now, son. I just need you to get yourself some gear, and probably some weapons. Dad? Understanding the shifting balance of power in the region, especially after Falkland's recent victory, the new administration began laying down the groundworks for a strategic alliance with the nations of Etheria and Numidia, hoping to create stability within the region. But things changed when the leader of Numidia abandoned his position. I don't want to be leader anymore. What? Why? Why can't you just support me and be there for me? I just don't get why you're stepping down. Why do you hate me? Without strong leadership, the nation quickly fell into disarray, and what was once a reliable diplomatic partner had become a source of growing uncertainty. Watching the events unfold, Snowcoma's administration made a difficult but necessary decision. The alliance with Numidia would be dissolved. In the wake of Numidia's collapse, a new nation called Daybreak emerged. Though young, Daybreak was already showing signs of promise. Its population was growing rapidly, its leadership was organized, and Snowoma decided to ally with them to replace Numidia. Meanwhile, an even more unexpected shift was happening elsewhere. Falkland announced a sweeping policy of isolationism. In a dramatic move, they withdrew from all of their existing alliances, most notably severing ties with the Union. For Snowoma and its allies, it brought a strange sense of both relief and uncertainty. On one hand, Falkland's isolationist turn meant its aggression expansion was likely paused, but on the other, no one truly knew what the powerful nation might do next. But I know what you should do next. You should start your own Minecraft server with Altivox. Shout out to Altivox for being the host of the Rise and Rule Minecraft server. I highly recommend using them if you are looking to start your own Minecraft server. Feel free to join their Discord for more information. All links are in the description. Okay, back to the video. So democratic election, Snowoma forms strong alliances, and Falkland stops all foreign relations. But I know what you're wondering. How does all of this relate to me running for president? Well, before moving to Snowoma, I lived in Eldernheim, which would later be called the Union. And while my time there was great, I witnessed a murder.
Oh, get out of there!
Hey,
Dude, get out of there! Oh my god!
So I left and found myself in Snowoma, and I officially became a citizen. However, players from the Union were not happy with me leaving, so they followed me to Snowoma and then attempted to kill me. The leader of Snowoma saw players from the Union storming the capital and attacking Snowcoman citizens. He was obviously outraged by this, and realizing that Falkland was no longer an ally of the Union, he took this opportunity to cement his legacy and declared war on the Union. What are you doing? Listen, he left us and we just want him back. You think I would just give up one of my valued citizens to you? You fool. He's been a citizen for 3 minutes. How dare you? You know what? Go back and tell your leader that I declare war on him. And also, tell him to kiss my... Hey, that's not nice. Welcome home. How did your trip to Snowoma go? Well, you see, the leader wasn't too happy with me attacking his people, and then he told me to tell you that he's declaring war on you. What? Oh, yeah, and he also told me to tell you to kiss his... Oh, well, you can tell him that I will his... The new nation of Daybreak saw Snowoma declare war on the Union, and being Snowcoma's ally, they had a good reason to join the war. But an even better reason was how the Union treated them when they were just a little baby tribe. Daybreak officially declared war on the Union. This was about to be the largest conflict on the server ever. Shortly after the declaration of war, it was time for another election in Snowoma. The nation gathered in the capital and they held a presidential debate. And this is how it went.
One of these candidates here today, before us, will become the next president of Snowoma and determine the legacy our nation leaves behind.
Hey y'all, my name is Sujoy. I'm the candidate for Vice President under the Nationalist Provincial Bloc, also known as the NPB, which is a merging of the provincial and nationalist parties.
None of these guys behind me have experienced life outside of this country. They don't know foreign trade, they don't know foreign policy. I do. That is the beauty of me running for president. And quite frankly, Sleepy Zilge, I think he did a terrible job. He did a terrible job. We're making trade deals, we're making alliances that quite frankly don't make sense. What a disgrace. How can this man be president? He doesn't even want to speak up for himself.
Whoa, the humility of this
Snowoma
man.
deserve someone that can actually speak with their own voice.
Citizens of Snowoma, what's up y'all? So I know Nate has been over here talking about getting rid of our allies, but why should we do that? I think right now we have picked some of the best allies a nation could ask for. Etheria, who has actually put their full backing behind the NBB party.
I will be performing senatorial constitution. Wait, hold on, I'm having an aneurysm. I'm having an aneurysm. Okay,
I mean, what a total disgrace. First we have Sleepy Zilge, and now we got Aneurysm Dragon. He can't even stand on the stage without getting an aneurysm. I don't want a president that's gonna get an aneurysm on the stage.
Acting like he's already won.
Want a leader that's gonna speak his truth. He's gonna
the
speak
lack
for
of
the people
humility of this
right away.
man.
He's not
The
gonna
lack
hold
of
back.
humility. I
He's not gonna
swear
hold
to
back.
God.
This man had an aneurysm on the stage. Embarrassing. That is truly embarrassing. I will never have an aneurysm on the stage.
He would get us into wars. We don't want war, but if there's gonna be a war, we're gonna fight it.
Aneurysm
And here he
Dragon
goes.
is speaking nonsense. Truly nonsense. He talks about not wanting war. The first thing he does, he comes up here and he talks about annexing an entire nation. That is completely contradictory to what he's saying. I find it crazy. Aneurysm
It is
Dragon,
not your turn to speak.
my turn to
You
speak.
made my point. You made my
It's my
point.
turn to speak
You
now.
made my point.
It's my turn to speak
Get
now.
TX up here.
Order
TX,
in
get
the
up here.
court.
Order in the court.
And quite honestly, I love this nation.
TX, get up here. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Order.
All of these
Order
people
in the
behind
court.
me,
We
they're
have
throwing
Sujoy
attacks
speak
at me
next.
because they're scared that I'll actually win. They know I have a chance.
Liar.
So they throw these blatant
Jesus
lies
Christ.
at me. hoping
Your
to lie to
words
you
are
guys.
free
They're
ammunition
liars.
for your enemies.
Their lies are
Hey,
not
give us
true.
Your words are free
Order.
ammunition for our enemies. I swear to God.
And they're not
Order
gonna
in the
speak now
court.
because they know that I'm speaking the truth. They hate the truth, quite frankly, but I love
He
the truth.
speaks no
I'm
truth.
gonna bring the truth back to the nation. A lot of truth.
Oh, no,
No, he
he's
won't.
not
A
speaking.
lot
Okay.
of truth. "24 hours after the debate, the election results were in. A new president was elected, and he was ready to take office. But in the Snowcoman Constitution, there's a very important part that explains that if an election occurs during wartime, the results wouldn't go into effect until after the war was over. So for now, the new president would have to wait, and the current administration would remain in power. What a great legacy he was making. Other nations on the server began picking sides and sending volunteers to the side they liked more. As both sides began to bulk up with more players, the Union then found out that it would have to fight itself. 2 players living on the northern island of the Union declared a revolution. Now, obviously it was just 2 players, so who really cares? But when you're trying to fight 2 powerful nations, the last thing you want is a small island trying to stab you in the ankles. The stage was set. Snowoma was preparing to fight in their first official war. Daybreak was looking to get revenge, and the Union was hoping this wouldn't be their demise. The Transcontinental War had begun.